Here we go. So on the left-hand side, we have a score called timbre keyboard that sounds like this. On the right-hand side, we have a movie that opens like this. And on the right-hand side, we have a 3D rendering of the keyboard that sounds like this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a recap of Composing in Evolving Spaces, Episode 2, Chapter Parsing, Flow, Lyric, Poise, Aware. In this episode, we re-entered by reflecting that we've transitioned, we feel, to our new series and our new beginning. We're getting our stride, we feel. And by getting our stride, we mean things are still coming up and smacking us in the face, but we're kind of dealing with them and moving on. We've begun working with something called a 6-note scale, and we'll be working with that further in the next episode. Our new working protocol, because we had two things going on, we had a video edit and we had the composing exhibit, both having parallel activities. So we have so many ideas for the composing exhibit, we made what we call a long stack of ideas. And the working protocol is just to do a few short things at a time. We call it the short stack. And keep track of the long stack. Move the long stack to the overflow buffer to revisit later. So that seems to be working. In our video editing, which you just saw a little bit of, our sound normalizing skills seem to have gotten better. And for our composing exhibit, in addition to our interactive theory and world music, we want to make sure there's something that's interactive, performable, and interactive, composable. So what we're going to do is walk you through these exhibit pieces that have been made so far. These are 9 more pieces to the 3D composing exhibit. Now, when we work on these pieces, we tend to park our avatar up here at the top, floating above it all. But when we do a walkthrough to show what it looks like, we want to be over here at the entry point for the exhibit. So now let's do a walkthrough and show off some of the things that we've created. Well, something that's kind of most immediately visible here is what we're calling part of our world music exhibit. And there is an online website that keeps track of 6,000 different genres of music. This is just a focus on dance pop. There's Russian pop at the bottom, Russian dance pop, Arab trap. We don't know what these all are, but if you went to that website, which is what this is a clickable place to go. Clickable place to go. And it says you want to go there, and you go there, and you'll see all these things. And if you click on something, it'll play a little bit of it. Very loudly, we might say. So we're not going to use a lot of these clickables, but that's one of them. Another new thing that we put up over here, this is kind of our tone area, and we're showing that the lowest hearable pitch is about 20 hertz. And there are actually people that have sung as low as 20 hertz. We found a video of it. The lowest key on a piano is A0 or 26 hertz. The lowest playable guitar string on a bass is about 41 hertz. So that's all good. But what we wanted to show was that there's a lot of different tones, and tones are just vibrations. So if you just rattle the drumstick or the teeth of a comb fast enough, you would get something that sounds like this. And that sounds just like a middle C. B. So tones are vibrations, and that's what all these hertz are. Down here, this is 260 hertz, and up here we only went up to like 65 hertz. But if you keep on going, also, however, even though we talk about 12-tone scales, there you can have as many different tones as you want. The catch is, can you hear the difference? Now, the difference here is from half notes. So this is a display. Here we go. Ending on a C, just an octave higher. So that was 24 notes, and after a while we lose track of where we are, which is one reason we have scales, which is what the build-a-scale is going to be all about. This is going to be the 6-note scale we talked about. But moving on, another thing that we added was talking about dyads. So if you have more than one tone, this is about one tone, but if you start combining two tones, you get a dyad. If you have three tones, there are three dyads and one triad, and it goes on and on and on. For our 6-note scale, there are going to be 20 triads, and which are over here. So these are the triads, but we only made some of them playable. So a traditional playable one might be like this. Or so these are playable things, and you can play with them and find combinations that sound good. Same thing over here. These are just dyads. So that's interactive playable. These are energy charts. They're not playable yet. Whoops. Come back, come back. But the idea here, we're going to make something called an energy dashboard, which are things like dynamics, harmony, tempo, cadence, syncopation, figure, ornament. That's what all these are saying. Mode change. And we have literally tracked these things over time on these episodes of these series. Another thing that we put up was another clickable URL over here. This is where you, if you want to see what your voice sounds like, you can go to here. And we did. So right here, if you want to see what your voice sounds like, you can go to this URL and you will see. And if you sing higher, it will come up very high. And if you sing lower, it'll come very low. And if you want to see what flutes sound like that. So by showing people these two interactive sites, we're sharing the excitement of music without having to build everything ourselves. Nevertheless, we did use that spectrogram tool, and this is another thing we did. So this needs some background, but basically, if you take the 5 vowels, a, e, I, a, e, I, o, u, they look different. This is a short A. That's a long A, rather. The long A. So short A. Long. Short. Long. Short. And you can see that different frequency, the yellow means it's louder. So this has louder frequencies up here than this does. Again, we have long, short, long, short, long, short. So that was a lot of fun. We also flute, oboe, clarinet. piano, synthetic brass, trumpet, synthetic strings, violin, voice. And these are all electronically produced, of course. Now, this is where that score came in that we showed you a minute ago. So we want something that's performable. And so we made these click playable buttons so that you can hear what a brass sounds like compared to voice. But you can also do things like offset them or more closely. And they've got different parts. So this is becoming performable, we feel. So, my God, that doesn't look like much, but we worked our tools to the bone using Reaper and Muse and web tools that we're familiar with. So anyway, that concludes this episode. Our ideas for next time are to continue adding to the composing exhibit. Again, we want things that are performable and composable interactively because it's called the Composing Toolkit. We need to add some narrative placards, and we're thinking about doing something of that 6-note scale that'll help be performable and composable. Not that this isn't performable, but this is an 11-note scale, so it sounds good. Shout outs to Silent Lurker who stopped by and Emo Aware. We appreciate you. Tune in next time to see what happens. Do take care. Do come back and do keep on streaming. Now, we just realized something terrible that we forgot to